What's up, guys? Tas here. So NIO just reported earnings, and in today's video we're going to break them down, go over the year over year, the quarter over quarter growth, and also go over the charts. What are the technicals looking like on NIO stock? And I also want to break down what I'm doing with my position, and that's going to be more towards the end of the video, so make sure to stay throughout the video. And also make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, get yourself 2 stocks from WeBull, $30 from M1 Finance. Those are linked down below. Same with my Patreon. If you want exclusive content, more access to me, buy and sell alerts, that's also linked right down below. So without further ado, let's get right into the video, and let me move my big old head out of the way and we'll get into the PDF file here of what they ended up reporting. So what you guys see up here, we actually covered this in the previous video on NIO I made 2 days ago. We talked about their delivery numbers because those came out on the 1st of April, about a month ago at this point, and they did deliveries for Q1 of 2021 of a little over 20,000 compared to what they did last year, a year ago, of a little under 4,000. So they did very well in terms of year over year growth. You guys can see those numbers, and even quarter over quarter in Q4 of 2020 they did 17,300 roughly, and that's an increase of about 15% quarter over quarter there. And now let's get into the juicy stuff, guys. This is what we didn't see before, and these are the vehicle sales, the vehicle margin, total revenues, gross margin, net loss. Let's talk about this, and let's get into what they ended up doing. So vehicle sales came in, and we're going to talk in US dollars here, guys. We see RMB here, and we obviously see US dollars as well. So they did for vehicle sales $1.13 billion in the first quarter. That's an increase of almost 500% from the first quarter of last year, and an increase of 20% from the fourth quarter of 2020, which is awesome growth quarter over quarter, and even better growth year over year of almost 500%. And the vehicle margin, I'm not going to lie, guys, it is nice seeing the vehicle margin go up. We can see here the vehicle margin was 21.2% this past quarter compared to the negative 7.4% in the first quarter of last year, which is great. So negative 7 to now positive 21%. That's awesome. And it was 17.2% in the fourth quarter of 2020. So great year over year growth, great quarter over quarter growth there. And for total revenues, they did 1.2 billion roughly, actually a little bit more than that, 1.21 billion in Q1 of 2021. That's an increase of 480% year over year, and an increase of 20% from the fourth quarter of 2020. And if you guys saw my video 2 days ago on NIO, we covered how the top analyst estimate was at about 1.25 billion. The bottom analyst, which was wildly wrong, that dude or gal, we don't know, they were doing they had about 800 million. That's what they thought NIO was going to do. And the consensus, the middle, was at about 1.02. And I mentioned in my video, I believe that they were going to do closer to 1.2 billion. And it looks like I was right. The analyst was right when it comes to that, total revenue number there. That made a lot of sense to me. You guys can see the gross profit number here highlighted in green. And by the way, I'm highlighting all this stuff as we go so you guys can see it more clearly. That was the number in the first quarter of 2021. And that was actually an increase from the gross loss from the previous year, and an increase of 36% from the previous quarter. And we had gross margin come in at a little bit under 20% compared to negative 12% last year, which is great, and compared to the 17% in the fourth quarter of 2020. So they're increasing and they're improving on total revenues, the margins, loss from operations. I mean, those are still there. Of course, this company is going to be losing money. It's putting a lot of money back into the business. And I believe the earnings per American Depository Share, also known as EPADS, right? EPADS, that came in at negative 4 cents versus the negative 16 cents estimated. So they beat on that, and I got that metric from ThinkOrSwim, which we'll talk about in a second here. Loss from operations, those came in at about $45 million. Net loss was at about $70 million. And if we go down here, you guys can see the vehicle sales growth year over year. You can see all that quarter over quarter as well. You can see the 20% growth quarter over quarter, about 500% year over year. You guys can see a bunch of CEO and CFO comments here, and we'll dive deeper maybe into this in another video, but overall, this is what I'm looking at, right? You guys can see the total current assets are sitting a little bit above 46 billion right now in RMB. Liabilities, total liabilities are sitting at about 22 billion RMB, while total assets, well, total current assets are 46 billion RMB, and total assets in general are 54 billion in RMB. So we're seeing that ratio of total assets to total liabilities, right? And you guys can see all of these other metrics, and I don't want to bore you all too much. We're dragging on a little too much on this portion of the video. So yeah, that's what they did. You know, these are their numbers. Pretty solid growth year over year, if you ask me, and quarter over quarter as well. And now let's talk about the technicals, what I'm personally doing. So let's hop over to ThinkOrSwim. Alrighty, guys. So here's the chart on NIO, and you can see on the hourly chart, we are overall breaking out of the descending triangle. I mentioned that before in these videos, and you can see it even more here on the 4 hours. So we're overall in a breakout pattern. We're starting to break out, at least from the past couple of trading days, right? Ever since the 20th, 21st here of April. That's a good sign. And recently, in the past couple of days, we've seen even crazier price action, more in particular the past 2 days, including today and yesterday, obviously. And we can see here they reported those earnings. The stock was pretty crazy after market hours yesterday, and pre-market today, it got down to $37. And I was talking about on Patreon earlier that I wanted to buy more NIO today in the $37, $38 range. But the truth is, guys, I missed it, and this thing ran like crazy. I was not expecting it to do this. And of course, it does the unexpected, like the markets always do, guys. And this thing ended up rallying about 8% from $37. It popped to about $41.11, and now it's trading at $40, hanging on by a thread at $40. And this is a lesson, right? And I didn't learn this the hard way. Well, I did a while ago, and I'm going to tell you all why I didn't rush into NIO here on this initial pop, because I figured, look, people are going to be buying in. There's a ton of momentum. This is probably going to cool off at some point throughout the day today. This is what I was telling myself when it was running up here. And I've done this before. I've made a mistake before where a stock just went bananas in the morning, right? It started going crazy. Then I bought in on the pump. And then later on in the day, it died off. The rally died off, and it would have been much better to just wait later in the day to buy what you wanted to buy, you know, to buy the amount that you wanted to buy earlier in the day. And that doesn't always work. You know, sometimes when stocks rally, they just keep on rallying and you missed out. But in this case with NIO, since I'm already in the stock, I'm okay with playing it out and being patient and seeing if it does pull back. And now we are seeing it pull back. You know, it hit 41.20. Now it's holding on to $40 by a thread, like I said. So I'm thinking if 40 bucks breaks, we'll see a sell-off to the lower 39s today, and that is where I'll probably end up adding more. And if 39 were to break, maybe back to $38 is where we end up going. And that might be a bit far-fetched for today, and it might not happen today. But overall, that is what I'm waiting for in the very short term, right? And I do see NIO ultimately over the next couple of weeks, months, getting back over 42, filling the gap to 46, and ultimately getting back over 50 bucks. So I'm in this not only as a long-term investment, but as a swing trade. And that's kind of what I'm doing, and a technical breakdown of what I'm personally seeing right now with this stock. So if you all enjoyed the video, let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to know. As always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see further content like this, and check out all the free links down below. You can get 2 stocks from WeBull by simply depositing $100 onto the platform, and those stocks are valued up to $1,600. You could also get $30 from M1 Finance by also depositing $100 That's how you get the $30, and all of those are free, linked right down below. And if you don't like WeBull, you don't like M1 Finance, you could just take out that money and you keep the free stocks, the free money that you got. So it literally is free money. And you all could check out my Patreon, which isn't free, but you guys can support me and the channel a bit further, and you get a bunch of perks by just simply being on the Patreon, and I'll link that down below. Or you guys could also go to patreon.com/StasSurfes, patreon.com/StasSurfes, and that is where you'll see my Patreon. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there. Keep crushing the markets, guys. Peace out.